think we're getting closer every day. One, he's got to be comfortable doing it. He's never done it before, but he can feel the ball really well. He's got soft hands. Maybe at some point in time on this next road trip.
Joining us now on the River Islands guest line is the manager of the Giants. Appreciate it so much, Bob Melvin, joining us on Willard and Dibs. Hey, Bob, what's going on today?
Hey, how are you guys? Same thing.
Yeah.
Just getting ready for a ball game.
Yeah, indeed. Game 2, Marlins in town. And would love to hear you expand a little bit on not just last night, but what feels, I don't know, it felt like there's some building frustration with regard to the lack of hitting. How would you describe it?
Well, look, I mean, we still been winning our share of games, and it really felt like over the weekend, on Sunday we had a really good offensive game where we came back multiple times during the game. We played a ton of close games. We've won our fair share of them. We do feel like our lineup is going to come around, and I felt like there were signs of it this weekend. So, in that respect, we get frustrated like on a night last night when we feel like we should do a little bit more, but I don't think the guys are down about it.
When you think about doing more, is it being more aggressive in hitter-friendly counts? Is it trying to coax the pitcher into falling behind more? When you look at more of the minutia of the at-bats, what do you see?
Well, it's case-specific, right, to a particular pitcher. If we have a pitcher on the mound that walks a bunch of guys, we have to be cognizant of that. If we have a guy out there that throws strike run with his fastball and tries to get ahead of you, you have to game plan for that. So I don't think in a vacuum you can just say, hey, this is the way we need to do it. I think we have several guys that we feel like there's going to be a lot more offensively, and we still are very confident that's going to happen. So I think it's just kind of staying with it, stick with a particular game plan every day, and be confident that it's going to come around some. I mean, you look at some of the other teams in the league, too. I mean, Padres are a really good offensive team, too, and I think we've scored more runs than they have. So we're not the Lone Rangers as far as maybe being down offensively a little bit.
Yeah, that is a fact for sure. Bob Melvin joining us here on Willard and Dibs. Hey, Bob, I wonder what you see in Justin Verlander's outings right now. We engage with Giants fans on the daily, and after last night, part of this is a statistical oddity that he has no wins, but you can tell that the fans are starting to feel like, gosh, when is this going to get going? But I wonder what the more educated view is right now of what you see when he's throwing.
Well, we're not giving him a lot of support, and then we get behind, and it doesn't feel great. But he's just coming off the IL. He's got a couple starts. He went through a deal where he just had a baby and so forth. Even though he prepares the same way and he's ready to go, I think just based on the fact that we haven't gotten him a win yet, and once we get behind, like last night early in the game, it just doesn't have a great tone to it. But you know what? He threw 5 innings. He gave up 3 runs. It still kept us in the game. We just didn't do enough offensively, and we really have not for him for the entire season.
Is there a sense of guys pressing not only for Verlander's outings because you want him to get a win, but just overall? And I can't help but think about the call made by Matt Williams at third to send Devers home, which would have tied the game if he made it, but he was out by 15 feet. What was your opinion on that send?
Yeah, there are times when you're not swinging the bat well that you have to be aggressive. So, I mean, look, it takes two good throws, 2 perfect throws to throw a guy out at the plate. We have a chance to tie the game up right there. So, yeah, I'm all for being aggressive in that situation.
Bob, speaking of Devers, how close is he to play in first base?
I think we're getting closer every day. One, he's got to be comfortable doing it. He's never done it before. Unfortunately, we don't have a spring training to prepare for that. So we have to kind of run him through some things that we feel like will make him comfortable. It's never, the first couple games going to be completely comfortable, but he can feel the ball really well. He's got soft hands. Obviously can throw the ball across the diamond. It's just a different spin, and lefties a little different than righties over at third. But we want to make sure that he's 100% with the groin. I think we're getting pretty close as far as that goes. It's certainly not going to be today or tomorrow, but maybe at some point in time on this next road trip.
I wonder also just the larger view of Rafael Devers getting comfortable as a Giant. This has probably been a hell of a week and a half for him. He's never known anything but the Red Sox. He's switching leagues. What have been your kind of observations on his overall comfort level and fitting in.
Yeah, it's. I think we lose sight of the fact that it's not the most comfortable thing in the world when you've been in one organization your whole career on the East Coast in the American League, and all of a sudden in one day you're flying to San Francisco to play for a new team that you're going to be with for years and years, and you've only played there, one time, I think, in his career. So there's a lot to digest and have to deal with. I think he's done it beautifully from the day he's gotten here, and I think our fans were incredible in making him feel at home right away. The players too, the reception, the front office, everybody here tried to make him as comfortable as he could on day one. There's just a lot going on, but you know what? He's got a smile on his face every day. I think each and every day he gets more comfortable in this uniform, knowing the ballpark. The opposition's a little bit different. He's used to playing in the American League East, but I marvel at the way he's handled this and how comfortable he seems right away.
Pretty great to see all of you there for the introductory press conference. That was just probably heartwarming for him and a great visual for the fans. When he gets out to the yard, how much time is he putting in before the game at first? And does he have to go through kind of the evolution of all the different mechanics you need to play at first?
Yeah, you do. So, yeah, he was out there quite a bit yesterday. Had a little bit of a groin thing going on, so we're not, there's a limit to how much work you can do defensively. But, look, he has no qualms with it. He wants to be able to go out there. We want to be able to get Wilmer in the DH spot some, too, which he's been very, productive in. So he knows there's a little bit of a timetable we're up against and trying to get it done with him. But I think yesterday was his most comfortable day as far as how much work he took. And like I said, hopefully at some point in time on this road trip we get him out there.
Bob Melvin with us on Willard and Dibs. Bob, we talk so much about is he going to play first base and where is he in the lineup? I'd love to hear more about his role kind of off the field and in the clubhouse, particularly because of how things went down in Boston. And you guys have talked about how maybe Chapman and Adames will be more of the vocal leaders. What is Rafi Devers' role on this team in the clubhouse?
It's pretty early to tell, but he gets along with everybody. There's a smile on his face. I don't know that he's going to be the most vocal guy in the clubhouse, and we don't really need that. We have several guys that will rely on that. Just being comfortable going up there and doing damage at the plate, I think, that's what's going to really make him comfortable around here. And that's definitely going to happen. So he's still kind of feeling his way out there. There were a lot of these guys he didn't know. Actually, there were very few guys that he knew. But every day you see him hanging out with the Wilmers and Willies and, getting to know Chappie and, some of the pitchers we have here that are kind of high profile too. Everybody's doing the best they can to try to, make this transition a little bit quicker for him. But I think what he does is he hits and he drives in runs and he does a lot of damage, and that's what we're looking for. We're not asking him to be the emotional leader of the team.
You mentioned Willie and Adames is not having the statistical year that everyone would hope for, but you haven't seen anything other than his dauber up. How much has he been a big-time positive influence in the clubhouse that feels different this year?
Yeah, he really has, and that's hard to do. When you have an expectation level of yourself to do, X amount offensively, and it doesn't happen, you're in a new place, and there's a lot expected of you. It can be difficult to come in with that attitude every day, but he comes with it every day. And what we take out on the field, those are kind of intrinsic things that you can't really put a value on. And I tell him every day, look, a lot of times what you're doing is not showing up in the box score, but it's showing up on the scoreboard and how we play the game every day and how, determined we are to play. And you're out there every single day in every game, and there's a lot of value in that. So we know the offensive numbers are going to come, but he still has an impact on our guys and how we take the field and kind of our mojo every day.
Bob, what do you need to see from Chapman before he's ready, and how do you think that will change the lineup?
Well, it'll change it significantly. He was hitting in the 4-hole for us for the most part. We'll see how it plays out. Having the Devers in the lineup too is as far as where he hits. But if you're talking about guys that are emotional leaders of the team, that's kind of his thing. So we miss that too on the field. The tenacity he brings, the defense that he brings, the base running that he brings. Just kind of everything that Matt Chapman's all about. As far as the timetable, not 100% sure. I'm thinking more when we get back from this road trip and how much we want him to, whether it's a rehab game or something like that. But really and truly, we don't want him coming back with these, especially the bone bruise and that middle one, affecting him the rest of the season. So he's eager to get back. He's bouncing off the walls and wants to get back as soon as possible. But we're going to take, what the training staff tells us and where they feel that he is. He'll have input, obviously, and how he feels every day. And, hopefully it's sooner than later. But I think if we get him back for the homestand before the All-Star break, I think that's a win.
Bob Melvin with us here on Willard and Dibs. Hey, real quick also, just with Logan Webb on the mound tonight, what sort of vibe does that give you guys? He's been such a good stopper recently. How is his presence kind of different for this team, especially after a loss?
Yeah, it just feels like win day. So, it feels like the way we play and losing close games, and sometimes we're frustrating. Not sometimes, we are frustrating offensively at times. It just feels like every loss is really dramatic, and then we come back and win the next day, and whether it's scoring some runs or it's the pitching. But, your number one guy is the guy that you really feel great about taking the mound, and we will today too. And if we win, we expect to win this game today, and then it's going to be a completely different feeling. You try to stay away from the the emotional highs and lows of the season, but anytime that Logan Webb takes the mound, we feel great about our chances.
Okay, Bob, a lot of baseball in the next 24 hours. Go get them. We very, very much appreciate your time.
You got it, guys. Thank you. Thanks for having me on.
Yeah, thank you. There it is. Skipper of the Giants, Bob Melvin. That's Bo Mel.
Bo Mel.